What's up, my XRP brothers from another mother and my cute XRP sisters? This is Rob with the Rob 007 channel coming to you from beautiful Venice Island. Absolutely stunning day down at the beach once again. 5 out of 5s, and the title of this episode is Ripple 5D Chess Move. Ripple playing 5D chess, we always know that, and made a checkmate move driven by the largest XRP war chest. And just happens that ETF approvals, they're going to happen. Watch this episode to the end. Got a great show, fired up so much today, and thank you as always. Last episode, again, we're just kind of crushing it. Welcome my new 100 subs to this channel. But indeed, if you are new to this channel, if you would, hit the subscribe button to subscribe, the bell for notifications, that like button, tap it, slap it, whatever you are feeling for a Thursday. The weekend's almost here. And if you do Twitter, follow me at Rob XRP007 on Twitter. Love my XRP Twitter family. And don't forget about the fine folks at iTrustCapital. So blessed to be able to have them. Had them for about 5 years. And my big 3 reason to get one: you have 0 fees, 1% on your custody. Unbelievable. 1% trading fees. Unbelievable once again. And they will be bringing out an ROI on the XRP. So they say, whether it's Q4 or Q1, I think we could see it for Q4. And best of all, when you sign up, you get a Benjamin Franklin. Yes, that's right, $100 just for signing up. Can't beat that. And also, don't forget about the fine folks in Caleb and Brown. I'm about to move a big chunk over there. By the way, they're also one of my top places to custody. Again, they have 0 custody fees. I can pick up the phone, get real-time trades, and also when we hit the banana zone, actually have a trade executed. And actually, I said, when we hear a lot of stuff about exchanges, I got another story of an XRP holder I will be calling that reached out to me, said that a certain exchange would not let them remove and withdraw their XRP. And it's a big one too, probably one that a lot of you guys have. So and anyway, so I'm going to try to help and see if I can't help him out. But that's why I like, Caleb and Brown. So like, remember how you couldn't withdraw, you couldn't buy or sell? Caleb and Brown, get that sell order in to say, I want to take profit at 10 or 20, and that's what I'll be doing. And anyway, links in the description. Tell them Rob sent you. Love those folks down under. And also, if you want to continue the fun on Kraken, that's one of my top places. I sleep well at night with my exchange. Open up an account, you get $75. What not to like about that? When you trade 200, that's called a 40% return in 1 day. And my favorite is if you're looking for an ROI on your XRP, OMG, and the highest level of institutional custody that is out there. Email me your name, number, and a good time to call. I moved a big chunk over there today. Super excited about that. And in the comments, Paul Bryant says, I got that right, Paul Bright, no ETF approval until shutdown is over. Appreciate your comment. There is probably a 50-50 split on people on if it will happen or not happen. I'm going to chime in. I'm going to say it happens, and I'm going to explain why. Currently, it sucks. Yeah, it really does. Bitcoin's at 108,535 when I was at the time of writing this, down 2.5%. XRP was a brutal $2.36. Ouch. We'll try to forget about it. But you know what? Pop quiz. What's the difference between ignorance and indifference? I don't know, and I don't care. And that's basically how I feel about the markets right now. And the price of XRP is I simply don't care. And here's why. So even though we're dumping, and this is true, I have never in my life been this pumped up in my life to be holding XRP and its future. Never have to this level. I was pumped up this morning because I did a couple of conclusions. I said a lot of events people go, may not happen, just depending. And I kind of ran through it and I said, they're going to happen. And I'm so pumped up about it. And then by mid-afternoon, we got the mother load. And what is that? The mother load? It's unbelievable news. And it makes zero doubt that XRP is the chosen one. XRP is the standard, and XRP will be the bridge currency. What happened? Well, Ripple, they acquired for $1 billion in an acquisition, G Treasury, and their 40 years of expertise. And it immediately opens up the multi-trillion-dollar corporate treasury market. What's the key word in there? Multi-trillion. Once again, line them up, fill them up, knock them back. So exciting. This is like, do you have any doubt in your mind when you get news like this? This one definitely goes up here. Are you kidding me? So yeah, so again, they're playing 5D chess move. And you know how they're doing it? With the biggest war chest in crypto. Well, what am I talking about? And it's that XRP. We got about 38 billion, 37 billion in escrow now, somewhere around there. I'm not quite sure. And then Ripple has some on a nice big chunk on their balance sheet. And then they get 1 billion that's escrow that's brought, comes out every single month. And so, yeah, what are they doing? They're buying the infrastructure. Add this next to Hidden Road. Add this next to the custody of Medico. And that other one, which the name leaves my thought, I can't, because it wasn't as impactful. But yeah, if you know the other one, I got to look it up. Put it in the comments if you don't mind, because I will be reading it later. And the shutdown did not, and you know why we're going to get those ETFs? That is because, the ETFs are going to get approved. You know why? It's because the OCC approved a banking license for Peter Thiel for a crypto bank, no less. And they approved it. OCC is a government agency. SEC is also a government agency. Yes, they will approve, just like the OCC did with the government shutdown happened yesterday, or the SEC will actually, by default, approve the ETFs. And look at the ETF lineup from Saturday to Saturday. It's going to be epic. And here's what we have going on. We got on Saturday, October 18th, that's the grayscale. On Sunday, the 19th, we got 21 shares. On Monday, we got Bitwise, absolutely huge. On the 23rd, we got Canary Capital. On 24th, we got Wisdom Tree. And on 25, we got Coin shares. So simply put, yes, that supply shock coming for your XRP, it's coming, and it begins on Saturday with that approval. We'll have people just FOMOing in, just excited on it, just on that news. We'll see what we do. I do kind of anticipate we may kind of be like trending down, whether it's today and tomorrow, but once this gets announced on we wake up and it is an ETF, you'll see interest coming back into XRP. And then come Sunday, when the markets open up in Asia, they will be reacting over in the Asian markets as well. So, but then by Monday, let the games begin, because that's when the financial markets open up. So will we just see a supply shock is coming for XRP, zero doubt. But will we go from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20? Or Jake Claver says we'll get to $20 really pretty fast, and he thinks the ETFs can push XRP to $50 and $100 once it has seasoned and mellowed out for a while. So we'll see. I did see on a little TA down by the beach from Good Morning Crypto, they had a great live stream this morning talking about how XRP and Ripple, they have been invited to the White House, to the newly refurbished ballroom. And that's going to be a celebration along with other companies, like Google's going to be there. The list goes on. A lot of folks going to be at that thing. So, and then don't forget, on the 29th, we have the rate cuts, 25%. That's nothing to get excited about, but guess what? That's another iron in the fire. That things get things moving in the right direction as far as money inflows to risk on assets like crypto. But if we get that half a basis point, that's called FOMO, baby. So let's see if we get that. I won't be holding my breath, but it doesn't matter. Just another iron in the fire. We're moving in that direction. But also, let's talk about that bank license. Will they get it? Absolutely. You want to know why? It goes back to the OCC. Not only did they approve Peter Thiel's banking license for a crypto bank, well, Greg Kidd has an application in for a banking license for a crypto bank. And so, do you think they're not going to approve Ripple's? Nah, hell no. And I don't think so. So that's at the end of the month. And then once we get that, like I said, I kind of speculate, wait for the announcements that Ripple starts to make, that now we got to prove, we don't want to put the cart before the horse. Let us tell you the announcement of how we are enabling it and who are we enabling it with, whether it's through FedNow or who knows. We'll see on that. That's really great because they're already connected with FedNow. But we'll just see some announcements to come out once they have that. And don't forget about, with this war chest, expect other, buying the infrastructure up. And it's really great because you got on the crypto side, they're buying the infrastructure on the traditional TradFi finance side. And the two wild cards I have going into the end of this month, them. One's BlackRock. Do they have an ETF that comes out of nowhere that's approved? And they make that announcement. And also a potential passage of the Clarity Act by the end of the month. Why do I say that? Because it is kind of let's just say rumored that the shutdown will be over on Monday. That's actually after a march happens no King's March somewhere on Saturday, something like that. So will we see that Clarity Act? If they open up on Monday, yeah, we could see that actually really expedite. But guess why? None other than Larry Fink from BlackRock, basically shouting at him, get busy, get this thing passed. So, and what he wants, he gets. So let's see if that doesn't get expedited, because if we had this by the end of the month, then we roll into swell on the 4th and the 5th. I think that's going to be epic, although I don't anticipate it to move the price. It will occur with a full moon. So we're about to enter a new moon. Not new moon to full moon. It's usually an uptick. So we're looking really good for an October. I think Good Morning Crypto says if we don't hold 232, that we could go all the way down to $2. You'll get another chance to buy the dip. But if we do hold 232, he's looking at targets about $4.50 to $5.30. That would be nice. Okay. So anyway, I love it. I'll love it if we get there. That'll be worth celebrating. So, and then again, that conference comes out the 4th and the 5th, and again, not that far away from the 22nd of November, that ISO 222. So imagine all these things being done by then. If you got the Clarity Act, will it be effective by then? That'll be kind of nice to see but by November 22nd, yeah, that's my price prediction of a $20 XRP and a bottom floor to build off of, with or without kind of black swans and that kind of volatility in the market. And then also when the Clarity Act is signed into law, expect droves of those NDAs to start coming out. I was wondering why we don't have more, but I think probably when the Clarity Act comes out, says, okay, we got rules of the law now. It's going to be effective on such and such a date. Since it's been signed into law, then the companies, whether it's a Bank of America or Wells Fargo, whoever it may be, can actually come out and say, yeah, we're partners with them. And expect big companies in the corporate world there as well. So yeah, the supply shock, let's just kind of go over so many different ways now. We add another one every single week, it seems like. So today we get the Treasury, $1 trillion market. And then we got the strategic reserves for corporations. Same thing for governments. We got the ETF starting on Saturday, BlackRock's real world tokenization, and their Texas Stock Exchange, and realizing the impact on that for money inflows as well. The RLUSD, and expect other ones to start popping off like the RL Euro, if not the RL Yen, and then and that's going to equal financial institution FOMO. Let the games begin, and don't forget about my price prediction for the end of the year, not financial advice. $100 XRP, that, my friends, is a bigger boat. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.